Well, I'm Pops, and we are going to have another great conversation, kind of a "What's Your Story" themed. And I have a great YouTuber on with me, Fat Steven Segal. How are you doing, my
Back
brother?
to the normal topic. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks
It's
for
nice
being
and
here.
clean here.
It's definitely white, isn't it? I know it's like the.
I feel like I'm not wearing the right hat today. No,
I'm like, what is happening? Yeah, I downloaded all the What's Your Story stuff and put it in the Pops universe, and it's just weird. I'm used to all the bright colors and the superhero stuff, and here I'm like, wow. I've walked into like the Matrix before it's been uploaded. Like I don't quite understand what's happening here. And but no, it's been good. I think that you have had a hellacious year with crazy stuff happening that you have overcome and persevered through, even though you probably don't feel like it at times. And I thought it'd be a great way to have a conversation and try to encourage others who see this and like, listen, you got to find ways to keep going. The world's going to keep turning. So, go on. So first, let's just, I don't know if you want to break the year into segments, or you just want to talk about it as like an overall thing. It seems like there's been so many things that we could discuss. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, first of all, it is your show you are hosting, and I am the guest, so you can choose the questions of what you want to go through first, and we can go from there. Because I'm lazy and I just passed the buck. That's what I do.
Fair enough. Okay, so when I first found your channel, and it was kind of like dabbling with pop culture YouTubers and gamers and different things like that. One of the things that you were transitioning to at the time was because the Canadian Convoy stuff had really taken Storm up north. And then, of course, you were following it live. You had these great other people that you were connecting to. But then, of course, it seemed like all of that just blew up like a glitter bomb all over Fat Steven. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, I don't understand.
See, it's last time I had that amount of passion, it was right after WandaVision, when we got that Ralph Boner episode, and everything felt like it changed from where it was going to what we have now when it comes to Marvel Disney. I'm not going to make that the story of poop trek is what I call it. But it kind of killed my passion of like really diving into something. And you've heard Loki talk about it before, about how like I broke down WandaVision. I still have all the videos, all that stuff. And then I just went right back to gaming, hanging with friends, and just, transitioning that way. And then I started hearing about the Freedom Convoy, what was going on in Ottawa. And then I caught one live stream, and then I caught another live stream. And then eventually I was doing 6 to 16 hour day live streams, covering every streamer that was down in Ottawa, going through what the Ottawa City Council was saying, what the police department was saying, what Parliament was saying, the fighting in House of Commons, down on the Viva Frei. I was all over the place. Like it glued me. And I guess a lot of people would call that, patriotism. And I don't usually use those words, but it was interesting to see how one narrative was being pushed and another narrative was being shown. And it was like watching in real time our Canada's leader dividing a country and name calling against the people that put him into office. And I've never seen that in my lifetime. I never thought I would see that in Canada's lifetime. I'm not saying Canada's perfect, but the South Park stereotypes and the U.S. stereotypes and everyone else in the world. Oh, we're friendly, eh? We got the hockey and the Tim Hortons and the hugs and the igloos and the beavers and the mooses and all that stuff that I have never heard before in any Canadian joke in my lifetime. But yeah, that's it was an interesting experience. I ramble.
I was watching it and literally was just seeing a headline and seeing stuff that you were sharing, and it just feeling gaslighting in real time. Like it was, because I'd worked in media and done like website reporting and stuff like that before. I've seen it before, and I'd already gone through this the last couple of years with what had happened in like Australia, even what actually happened in Europe. We were reporting on different things, and then what was coming out was like completely different information. But it was so much more personal with what you were seeing in Canada. And I want to say you were addicted, but it's almost like you were the truth teller in the watchtower going, is everyone else seeing what I'm seeing here? This is freaking nuts.
I felt like Oracle, but I wasn't bound to a wheelchair or Barbara Gordon.
Did it surprise you to see people turn on you personally because of that, though? Because that had to be kind of a wake-up call. Like, wait a minute, you shouldn't be saying these things, and you shouldn't be doing these things. And
to be honest, a lot of people reached out, And a lot of them gave me a different perspective as either truckers or people who lived down there personally and were watching things that were going on, whether it was BC, Ottawa, Windsor, etc. And I actually respected and listened to what they said and try to get an opposite point of view to not just be with the truckers, but see all outcomes, all people affected, whether positively or negatively, and try to stay down the center with how I look things in general. But someone also taught me, you probably know Gary from Pop Culture Minefield, as much as you try not to be biased, how you present things and carry yourself, your bias is already showing. So you just look ignorant to the fact.
Yeah.
Not many people turned against me. When I did see people's Twitter feeds blowing up, I will never name people, and saw how they were ostracizing or yelling or putting down people, that gave me clear sign not to do that to other people, especially within our own community, because there's always someone listening, there's always someone watching, and the last thing you want to do is make them feel worse for having an opposite viewpoint. We've seen enough of that throughout this YouTube community when it came to The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was a very divisive and huge crevice within all of us, saying, well, I'm against Last Jedi and Rise of Wokewalker and all that stuff, but I'm okay with Mandalorian. And a lot of people were trying to cause a segregation, and like you couldn't even have a like here while still being against this stuff we got with the sequel trilogy. And that was a good learning lesson, not to put that same type of mindset and aspects on how people were interacting with the trucker convoy. Things like, oh, you're not Canadian, you wouldn't understand. I'm like, protest is a protest. It shouldn't matter. It's what they're standing out for. Because Canada inspired, what was it, Australia as well, but Australia went a little nutty with the fires and stuff and the water cannons. And then you saw what was going on with, was it the farmers in, where was it? I can't remember.
The stuff in Australia was, I mean, literally when they rolled out the app where they were tracking you and you had like 10 minutes to respond on your phone and things like that. That's when it started it kind of went on an exponential curve of insanity of ticking people off. Like, it was. So, but when did it transition into, because you then it's around this time you ended up through your demonetization, you know, for someone who can actually say my channel is under attack, right? I mean, you literally could.
I never did, and I kind of screwed up on that too. Yeah, it was more of an embarrassing factor. They hit me with the reuse content, but they didn't tell me what. But I found out that they have an algorithm that, because I was talking to support, they have an algorithm that can detect it, but they don't want to tell us what it detected so we can fix it. So from there, it was literally appeal, deny, appeal, deny, appeal, deny. I wiped out almost over 250,000 views from those streams off my channel, but they were all backed up on my Rumble. And it kind of put me in this retrospect of I put all this effort in, even if it's restreaming, I don't care. I was trying to make sure I had interviews with Red Prince. He was one of the guys down on the ground. He gave me permission. Other people from the US, Convoy, same thing. But YouTube doesn't care about that type of permission. It devastated me, even wanting to continue. I had nights where I was hovering my mouse over the delete the whole channel thing, all of it, because it's hard when you put a lot of effort in and all it takes is someone else of larger power to just say, nope, you're breaking one of our rules.
I want to clarify, because it was YouTube calling it reused, even if it was not the people's videos that you were sharing or interviews and things like that. It's not me saying, hey, Steven, you're using my content, I'm going through YouTube to file a claim against you. It's just YouTube's algorithm just constantly flagging you. I
didn't get much information on that, but they're saying it was reused content, but I had panels with 3 to 4 people or just by myself, and it was more like a reaction panel of what was going on than anything else. And then all of a sudden, bam, reused content. And it took about 2 or 3 months before they decided to give it back. And it's not easy. I know a lot of people have been going through that recently with reused content. And it sucks because you don't know what you did wrong and they won't tell you. So it's like you're being punished for something you have no idea what you did.
Yeah, well, I can. Part of the reason I wanted to have you on too, because I went through this, rewind the clock to 2000, the early days, 2008 through 2012, and it was like copyright stuff, copyright strikes, you're out, kick you out of the club. It was like, but what video are you talking about? Well, this is that you've been flagged. It's like, yeah, what video are you talking about? We didn't even have. Now we have mute options, edit options. It's this particular video. It's like back then it was just your channel's getting flagged. There's all these things. And you're like, I had radio show content and all these things. And it was like a needle in a stack of needles. I'm like, I don't even know where to begin and end. And like you were going through, you're deleting. It didn't make a difference. You're deleting. It doesn't make a difference. And all the wind is just going out. You're wasting so much time and energy doing all of this stuff that you don't even, and you got nothing. And it's,
I wouldn't say nothing to a total degree, because there was a lot of good friends and a lot of people around that would be there if you needed help. They would support you. They would reach out. So you weren't there with nothing. But I get where you're coming from is you put all of your soul into something because you finally care about something different that's outside your normal circle. And it's like part of yourself has just been deleted in a heartbeat that you spent days doing or years doing or months doing. And then when you look back at it, it's like, do I really want to go down that rejection road again? It's like getting rejected at a high school dance. How many girls are going to say no before they say yes? But how much of myself am I willing to put out before I get to that yes?
How much is it? Do you think there's some conditioning? Like if we do this to enough people, we'll just stay with, like, I kind of like view the copyright claim thing as a lot of it is just bogus crap. And that if you just know how to play the game to push back against them, it goes away. But it's almost like they're trying to condition you to not show clips, not show music, not do things that you can do. Do you think some of this is conditioning?
I think it is over time, but when I've had to fight copyright claims, either I've had the license, I've literally checked the person claiming if they have their information given, like their YouTube channel, and it turns out to be fake, or I say this is a reaction to your trailer and promoting it in positivity, and they release it. I try to keep the honesty with them. Copyright claims is very finicky. I've been claimed on stuff that I have a license for that I pay through an editor, like a software editor or video editor. And I'm like, you guys do realize that I pay for the license, right? And then they'll let it go. Copyright's a big thing, but you also got to know the rules when it comes to copyright and not push it too far. And
no, I agree that you have to be an honest broker in all of this. I just feel like sometimes the algorithm, and I'm just going to use that as the vague umbrella term, whether it's a button pusher or a human being or whether it's just a computer system picking stuff up. It just feels like this reuse content and all this kind of stuff. It just feels like it's always steering the YouTube communities and negative reinforcement to do certain things, and it becomes things like it's not worth my hassle to keep doing something that I would normally do. And I feel like the way that they took advantage of what you had accomplished through the reuse content mechanisms, obviously we could derail the whole conversation into the politicization of it all, but also just the idea of we don't want people doing this. We don't want people doing this.
We've all seen how YouTube's evolved, especially over the last, let's say, 2, almost now 3 years when it came to lockdowns till now. There is definitely a difference in how things are handled and how things are. The goalpost constantly moves. As for everything else, the conditioning, I think, is how much are you willing to get defeated before you just give up. I think the conditioning, depends on the person, the willpower, and the strength of why they're here or what they want to do next. We've seen it with multiple channels, like not just within, let's just say, the community, when it comes to the once was called Fandom Menace to the Fellowship or whatever it is called now. Channels outside that are even flagging YouTube for what they're doing, and it's a bigger problem.
What do you say to someone that's going through this for the first time? You know, they've got a reuse content thing, they've gotten demonetized, or maybe they're just seeing some of the backlash that you were referring to earlier. Like, what do you say to those people? Because there's always going to be YouTubers behind us, whether it be, a month from now, 6 months from now, years from now, 5 years from now, and they're going to be like, oh crap, there's this video, this guy is talking about this. What do you say to those folks of how to, now that you're on the other side of that part of it?
Fight and wait. That's pretty much what it is. All you can do is fight and wait. We have no real say as content creators here. We don't. That's my opinion. You can be here today and gone tomorrow and not know why. Like, look at Ricada Media that's a prime thing. It just takes, or what was it, the Ace Man, when that stuff was going on. They check our Twitters. Like, he verified that they go through our Twitters and stuff too. So it's like the freedom of speech is there, but there's also the freedom to eavesdrop. And I think YouTube is very particular. If you're not a kid-friendly channel, you better be following the guidelines to a T, or one day you'll just wake up with nothing.
You mentioned Rumble earlier. Do you find it easy to navigate through other platforms and transfer your data and information like that, or is it just more of like a tedious process for you?
Honestly, it's sorry, almost a bad word to start off with. If you're familiar with restreaming software or any type of stream software, you can pretty much manage yourself to multiple platforms.
Mhm.
All I have to do is stream on YouTube, and it's synced right to Rumble right after. Every UI is different. It's the capacity of the person who wants to learn it, or if they have the patience for it to actually get it a working thing. Same time, YouTube's been around a lot longer, and things like Rumble, Odyssey, and I guess Trovo or whatever are still trying to find their places. And with that, it becomes down to the size of the creator that's there, the audience that's willing to go over there and relearn, and if it's viable. People who use a lot of Twitch aren't really that much into YouTube. Those who are YouTube users aren't really into the whole Twitch interface. It goes hand in hand. It all depends on what you're comfortable with.
That's true. That makes sense. Yeah, because people mention Twitch all the time, and I just don't even. I don't even. I had an account or put the app on my phone, and then just watched one or two things and took it right back off. I just there's. It can feel very overwhelming at times too, whether as the creator and as the user, like how to navigate it. Like I shared something to Getter the other day. I hadn't been on Getter in like 2 months. Just because, there's like copy and paste stuff on there, but the difference is all the tags and stuff are different. Like you're trying to follow the same sort of structure with like a Twitter or even a Facebook, but it's like they're all so different. It's like there's work that gets involved and people get frustrated. It's like, I don't have time. I'm not getting paid for this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's rough.
That's where the auto share comes out, where you can find, especially a service that will automatically like tweet out, hey, I'm live here. Hey, I'm live here. Hey, I'm live here. I like Restream or StreamYard, however you look at it. You can just turn on what platforms you want to go to. StreamYard, I don't know if you can do it. I think StreamYard and Restream, you can do it on the fly. Let's just say I don't want to do just YouTube. I'll go to Restream, click on, okay, I want Twitter to go get a video as well. And the stream will go to Twitter as well. So it's all about learning tech, right?
Right. How do you bounce back from getting monetized again? So that you finally you've done some content in between, you've been wasting all this time. I say wasting, but I don't mean that. You corrected me accurately before, but I meant like you've spent a lot of time of not making videos and doing stuff you enjoy to basically try to clean up whatever it is they claim you've done wrong. That's now a clean slate. You're monetized again. How do you pick up the pieces to kind of move on? Like, did you just start with stuff that you knew you enjoyed doing? What was like the first baby steps forward for you?
I honestly don't think the pieces have all been picked up. I'm not whole as I was before when I got remonetized. Wow. I don't feel it. And most of that I think is on me. My personality, my persona, how I'm perceived, how maybe unapproachable I can be at times, that it's hard for issues to get worked out. And I don't know if it's the same for other people, but as I go back to my previous statement, when you're giving part of yourself to something for so long, even if it's for a couple months, and it's taken away and then you're rebuilt again, but it's not the same rebuild, those pieces aren't in the same spot for me. And it's shown. It affects your personality. It affects your mentality. It affects your physiology to a degree. Lack of sleep, depression, being unable to trust. There were so many aspects for me coming down there. And while that demonetization was happening, there were certain factors, outside factors, personalities or personality that didn't understand when to stop when it comes to how they couldn't pick up signs that maybe you shouldn't poke too much. And that's even my fault too. I have poked too much. So I got it, and I have a massive amount of patience, but it's there's so many factors involved.
There's something that somebody said something to you that you felt actually helped, even if it was a short period of time. Somebody said, something you could share. You don't have to share who it was, maybe per se, but maybe just like summarize something. It's like, I needed this on this day or this on that day. Just that it's documented for somebody else that needs to hear it. You know what I mean?
There was a couple of people out there that they would reach out to see if I'm okay. They still do as much, but it doesn't feel the same. Probably it's just the way things grow or separate and come back. It's like a tensor bandage. I hope I'm using the right terminology on that one. But there's always going to be positivity, but at the same time, there's always going to be negativity too.
Sure.
Depending on the mindset, especially with me, you focus more on the negativity as the driving force to get back to positivity. But if it's constantly nailing you every day, it causes a longer term. I'm trying to be as vague as possible without
You're fine.
sounding like a victim.
Yeah. I didn't want to put anything in that would be an uncomfortable territory.
Oh,
but
it's
I wanted
not.
to
It's
try
not
to.
uncomfortable. It's not.
Yeah. We didn't have long to transition from even that into, more like personal calamity with stuff that happened, with your home and stuff like that, and stuff that's like beyond your control. Like
That's legit.
when I explained it to my wife, I said, it's like basically looking at a hurricane victim. It's like looking at someone who everything's just gone. Like you just wake up one day and everything's uprooted. Everything's gone. No one wants to take responsibility. No one wants to do anything. It's just a freaking mess. And
Yeah.
he can video document and talk about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, even when you're on the other side of it, you don't even know what to say or do. And share as much as you feel comfortable sharing about what's been going on. I don't, you don't have to, we can direct people to your channel. We'll have links in the chat. I mean, in the description and stuff, of course, but, kind of summarize however you feel comfortable.
I can summarize the year as the rise and fall. Whether it was in my control or not, that's pretty much this whole year has been up like the roller coaster from hell. And it's I say that with positivity because we've learned, let's say, from the Nolan Batman's why do we fall? So we pick ourselves up, right? And even when things are not in our control happen, as you're referring, I guess, to my new water park, because I try to keep an aspect, and I'll be blatantly honest, right now, screw the water damage. Screw the fact that I'm waiting for our clothes, or that we have to order out because we don't know the stability of our kitchen because we're getting no answers. I'm going to put it this way. I live with my dad. My dad retired a few years ago, and he's living his retirement in his house, his condo. This has affected him more, and I have to watch this. He was in 2021. He kind of put himself in the hospital because he was drinking a lot, and he wasn't hydrating enough. So I got another thing out of control where I have to wait on the hospital to give me information because we could not visit because of the lockdowns and mandates. Mm-hmm. I'm watching him now living his retirement on one couch on a cement floor, looking at a TV, playing Angry Birds on a tablet because he has no answers. And all he can do is drown his sorrows again.
Yeah.
As a son, and also as a man, this is more brutal for him. Sorry. Than it is for me. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
It's not easy watching a parent stuck in a concrete prison, and you don't know how to help him, and all he is angry because he can't get things accomplished. And you're watching him waste away his retirement because not only are all our furniture gone, most of our shoes are gone. Everything's either in storage or it's been thrown out. We can't cook, or if we can, it's bare minimum. We live off fast food if it can get there, or some type of healthy meal to get delivered. But it's it's like watching your parent. It feels like I'm watching him slowly die of boredom because he can't get his house back because the building is refusing to move on anything. All they ask us is to move out. We don't want to move out. We can live here. Then they're trying to give excuses here and there. And then you're stuck trying to take care of someone as his home is falling apart. And that is like a no control scenario for me. I don't talk about this much because I try not to give too much, but like I'm on disability. My back is messed up from a car accident. I do what I can around the house that he can't do. Even to this day, from the hospital release, he still uses his wheelchair once in a while. He has this med chair to sit on there. He has to take pills every day more than usual. And I have to make sure he's not like just drinking it all back. It's not easy. That aside, that is the main stress going on here, not including the fact that I'm still waiting for an answer if my disability is going to be continuing. Let's not get into that one. Then we have infestations coming that were never here before. I have a YouTube channel that feels like it's not mine anymore because I don't know where I am anymore because my home is up settled and I'm not finding the happiness of calm because there's always something new happening. And then there's, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, you use the term in one of your videos. It's like forced escapism. And that's one of the reasons I took note of that. And that's when I put you on the list. I had to talk to you and kind of get you involved in this, because there was something about forced escapism that, like, it's like escaping is one thing because it brings you a relief and joy and maybe some happiness and relief. And in your situation, you're like, it almost feels like I have to do it as like the job and the obligation, as a way of even having a chance at grasping at the coattails of sanity in the situation that I don't even know what to do. And I don't know.
I look at it this way. I'm in a pool and I can't swim, but I'm trying so hard to get above water for a breath of air, and then someone just pours another bucket into the pool. That's the way it kind of feels, because it's like the layers of water is building, but the air is never at reach. And I think it's affecting both of us like this. It's crazy. And I don't want this to sound like, oh, woe is me. It's not a woe is me. You wake up every day and your floors are gone. Your coats are gone. Your dining room table's gone. All your furniture's gone. And you're sitting there waiting for some type of, when are we going to get things fixed? It's almost winter. And you're sitting there, it's mind-boggling. I don't know if you've seen the videos. It's like sitting in an echo chamber, literally, because you can hear your voice bounce off the walls because there's nothing in there.
There's nothing there. Yeah.
There's nothing there. And then at night, after I'm done with my computer stuff and I'm planning on going to bed, I'm up for another hour or two, cleaning the apartment, making sure coffee's ready if we have coffee, and making sure he hasn't done anything crazy. Like, it's a big job. Like YouTube's easy. It's the stuff behind it that you don't know what's going to happen is the hard part. That and the interactions with people, because they will come and go, and it's sometimes hard to hold on, and even then you can lose some friendships without even meaning to. It's like I haven't had a break. That's why I took like that week. Like I'm taking like 2 weeks where I'm just like, I'm just not doing a normal schedule unless I want to. That's why I said I'm only doing Dark Tide right now. Enjoy the Dark Tide. That's it.
Do you approach it as a moment to moment, day to day, or task to task sort of situation right now?
I deal with it. Where can my ADHD go that cannot make me stress out?
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's pretty much it. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus on that. And then I'll spend time working on thumbnails if people ask for them, or channel art because I want to do something, screwing around like what I changed. Like before I came on here, I was changing the text and the color of the logo. I was just doing stuff like that. I'm looking and researching new games to test, applying for this and that to see whether or not I can promote it. I'm doing all that stuff.
Right.
While having stuff playing on in the background and listening to him shouting, because I know he's so unhappy that the house is just not getting any answers. It's nonstop. And I hate sounding negative. I really do. I was taught, and I know this is a bad teaching. You taught, like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything else. That means never share your negative problems. Nothing bad that happens in your life. I know that's.
I don't know. I thought that was more of a don't insult someone. Like just don't be a douchebag. Just like that kind of.
I can be a douchebag. No problem. I got a badge.
Yeah. So that's what I thought it meant. I didn't think it meant don't share your negative. I think
in life. Yeah, that's what she told me one day, and I was like, that's how life goes.
Yeah, I think they've got that metaphor, that word of wisdom kind of wrong there, in my opinion. But, see, here's the thing, and I don't want to demean what you're going through, and the reason why this is important to share and talk about is because you're not alone. Other people are going through this too, and especially here in Florida. We have a hurricane. Half these people in America got really insensitive because they act like they see Floridians evacuating. They were told on this day they can leave or whatever. And reality is, if you haven't been here long enough or you don't know how storms work, when this thing makes a dog leg right in the last 24 hours and it wasn't going towards you and now it is, and you lose everything in your home, your whole house is completely gone. You don't even have the money for the motel that you just stayed in. It's completely liquid. You don't even know if you have a job because the building that you used to work in is gone. I'm not trying to demean what you're going through. I'm just trying to say you're not alone. People everywhere are facing just the
same thing,
ridiculous, out of my control scenarios. And if you're at least a voice in the wind, maybe someone can reach out and grab it and go, holy crap, at least I know I'm not alone. At least I know this other dude's going through something I'm going through. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I think is the point of at least talking about it. Is not, and I don't want you to feel like you're reveling in your negative, because reality is every day is another day. You know what I mean?
Well, that's you make a good example. That's the reason why it took me so long to even get that coffee donation thing set up, because I was pondering, like, is this even worth asking for help? Because I can't even afford getting meals here because we have nowhere to cook. And like, it took people who support me, who are friends and stuff, saying you should just do it. When are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Do you have this ready? I'm like, I don't even know if I'm deserving of other people's help. And that was the biggest hurdle to get over, because as much as you think you're like people in Florida or anywhere else are going through crap and they've lost everything and need help, it comes on the self-image of themselves if they think are worthy of other people's help. And that's the biggest battle. First, it's not about just being not alone in the fact that you need help. It's the whole, you're not alone if you think, am I worth someone else's assistance? Yeah. And I think people don't look at that aspect.
No, wow. Yeah, you're really right too, because this was a huge thing. I think I'm significantly a bit older than you in that.
You are.
And this is a generational issue where, like, from my age and older, there was shame that came, right? There was a lot of that. Even when you actually needed things and needed help, and
even on the streets,
anywhere, everywhere. And it was like, now it's different, and there are more opportunities to figure out how to help someone in real ways, but we don't know what to do. I always go back to this example. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of anything quite like this. When my kid went to a charter school, and it was like, they didn't have a lot of extra money for some reason, but reality was, what this teacher did was brilliant. She put a list of put a bunch of sticky notes on the board of the things that she needed. Everything is down to like a stapler, reams of paper. And that's all it would say, just sticky notes. And when the parents came through for their introduction, you could just grab sticky notes and just bring the stuff in. And they would just put new sticky notes up as they needed stuff. You had real ways of helping without having to create a bubble of shame and whatever. And I know your example is a little bit different, but at some point, it's a way at least trying to explain. Like, if I could send you, it's like, obviously I can't ship to Canada because the freaking post office are a bunch of criminals. But reality is, it'd ship you a help box. Like, here's some crap I have for you. So I give you, you know what I mean? It's like, that would be a way, but it's like trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, no, an Amazon wish list, I'll do so great, but then people will go through it and nitpick it. But I think it also falls under not just shame, but also falls under the pride. But we hide the pride under the shame because we don't want to say, hey, I need help. And that can stem back to me, because I was on the streets at 16. Okay, I was kicked out before high school ends. I lived in the shelters. I would never ask for money. I would work hard. I would never panhandle. So that also falls in line to what's going on here. This was the fifth leak, but this was the worst one. Okay, we've had a leak. I even have pictures from older leaks on my phone, which I'm surprised I kept. But this one was the worst one, because it not only did you guys see the hole through the ceiling, it ruined all the floors down to his bedroom. Okay, so my room was safe because I was sandbagging the crap with soaked crap in garbage bags, and like, I learned from the Floridians. Okay, I'm just gonna sandbag all the water here because I'm here panicking, going,
push that water somewhere else.
I had to take the power bar off the floor. I had to make sure no water got near the computers or any of the tech stuff. And I'm sitting there tweeting, taking videos of people. And this was during the lunch table this happened, right? So Lorena's like, oh, I got to go. Then it came pop back in. I'm like, here's the video. Enjoy what's going on in my water park right now. And you can hear me freaking out, because it's like I'm watching in real time. It's like when people, this can be really associated with how people are feeling when they're demonetization on YouTube, how they feel like their videos are being taken away after all the hard work. You're watching everything you use to work, everything you have worked for, everything you have obtained get destroyed within 30 minutes, 5 minutes, however long it takes you to understand what's going on. And your body just goes straight white on the inside. And I mean, like, when you get scared, your hair stand up, you're having a realization of loss. And yes, physical items can be replaced. I don't care if the physical items be replaced. It's the fact of the rebuilding. It's like when someone destroys your 2-hour work of Lego, wiped out, and you go, oh, it's going to take it. I don't have the instructions. It's the same feeling, and nobody likes that feeling. It's the fact that everything can be gone so quick, and that you can associate that with loved ones, furry family members. You can associate that with anything. And when it's your home, So Florida, especially, or anywhere that's had like tornado season or anything like
Yeah.
Haiti, for example, and we've seen in the past. It's not only the fight or flight for survival of what can be saved, it's the fight or flight of your own sanity and willing to keep going on. And this year has been a test of that.
Oh, yeah.
For me, and I know others.
How do you find some peace? Like, to close your eyes at night. Like, how do you find
an incognito
peace,
window? An incognito window in 5 minutes. No, and the VPN. Let me tell you about Nordstar VPN. No,
he's in Canada, not Germany. Oh wait, that's news to his VPN.
They have subtitles. That works. But to be honest, how do I find peace? I'm not.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't. I haven't found peace. I'm not. Like literally, I said, look, when I say I have a brownie here and there, it's because I need it to not only get rid of the physical pain, so I can focus on the other pain that's going on. It's because I need it to just detach and go to sleep. All I've been doing lately has been sleeping because I need to get caught up. My back is messed up. I have a herniated S1L1 that cannot be operated on. If they touch it, both neurosurgeons have said you're going to be paralyzed from the waist down. I'd rather walk. Thank you. I'd rather hobble than do Papa Wheelies with my dad's wheelchair on the outside curb. But it's at least I can handle the physical pain. That's in my control. Mentally, you don't know what's going to happen next each day or each hour, and you don't know how that's going to affect your perceptions. And it could take one little thing to make you go, okay, I got to end the stream. And I've done this. And then I delete the stream. I'm not in the good mood, and I just shut down. I'm trying to prevent myself from shutting down. But I'm trying to shut down other things that are probably making the stress at higher levels because of how I can overanalyze something. We all overanalyze something. Right. There's really no peace except hanging out with some friends, having a laugh, or I'll pop on comedy once in a while, or go back to an old anime that I love and just relive those emotional feelings, like why I love them to begin with, or Babylon 5, like all that stuff I'll do. But it's just a Band-Aid. It's literally just a Band-Aid.
What do you say to the person that probably today, there's someone every day, right? Someone that's going to, you mentioned some of it, right? It'll be a tornado. We're headed into snowstorm season. We're headed into some different things that are going to happen, and people are going to go through kind of what you're going through. So how do you, basically what you're saying is you don't even feel like you've got further enough out of the storm to even give someone advice. But at the same time, you at least have to recognize there is someone walking behind you that's still, knee deep in the middle of trash bag day when the water's pouring in. What do you say? Bail some water, put in the bags, just know you're not alone. What do you say?
If, to be honest, for the way I am, if there's someone behind me and dealing with the same stuff, I would rather try to help them with their problems because it would get me away from mine. Okay. And helping someone else with the same type of problem might give you an answer to your current one. So always, you might be looking behind the person that might fall, but you should be the first person to help pick them up.
Okay.
If that makes sense, right? But
yeah,
we're also naive, right? We're not going to see everything right away. It's talk, communication. If there's a problem, approach the person you have a problem with, work it out. It's the same thing if that person falls down because the floor gave out underneath them, offer them a hand. It might get slapped away at first. Yeah. But if there's no verbalage, there's I wouldn't say there's no hope, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, you're accepting defeat. You're just accepting failure. You're accepting destruction. You're accepting the things instead of trying to figure out a way to navigate beyond it.
See, mistakes and problems can be fixed. Things can be replaced. But if you don't know the things are broken or the problems have arisen, then you're given a forced naivety because no one's out said or asked. And that can be also reversed on me. Asking for help is a big problem. For a lot of us, it is because we don't want to show weakness. It depends on how we're raised. Like asking for help, does that make me less of a man? Does it make me less of a woman? And that's where conditioning is. That's where conditioning is, and how we're raised as to be strong, but sometimes strength is in accepting help. And sometimes we don't see those simple things because we're so self-involved in our own issues. I don't know. I'm trying not to sound too like, hey, he sounds intelligent. I would have another brownie, Steven. Sure.
No, but I mean, again, like you said earlier, though, when you're still in the storm and you're still feeling like it, sometimes a lot of ways you're just trying to figure out ways to help others and reach out and reach back and people to not feel alone and those kinds of things. And for you, you've navigated through this. People will look at superficial things and not know these backstories, right? You have a new person might find your channel, they see thousands of subs, they see whatever, they don't even understand all this backstory, right? They have no idea what any of that means. And you move through each day, each week, each month, whatever. There's some sort of end to some of these things, and there's light at some point. That at least that chapter can be closed. So how do you plan out, or do you plan out like 2023? How do you look to a scope? I mean, I know you were discussing so in depthly like the daily grind and struggle of it all, whatever. But at the same time, how do you kind of look beyond all of that into something bigger, beyond whatever?
I'm not. I'm not looking to what's.
It's still survival mode. Is that the best way to describe where you feel like you are right now?
I wouldn't know, to be honest. Sorry, this is kind of a weird question, but I'm not looking at 2023 as just I want my home back. I want my dad to be able to live at his home. He hasn't left the house either. He can't, because just the way things are. It's just, I don't see the future as anything more as that I hope tomorrow something else is answered. And anyone can preach, oh, there's always the next day. Yeah, you just got to look forward, keep pushing through it, ignore the problems. When I step out of my bedroom, the problem is there. That's the difference, I think it is. It's the same with like when you were people in Florida. They can't step out of their door because their problem is there. It's just one pile of bricks. Yeah, it's not just the memory, it's also the emotions attached to those places. And it's watching it's like watching my dad is the hardest thing, because I don't want him to end up back in the hospital. That's my biggest concern, maybe for 2023. Maybe that's it right there. I don't want him back in the hospital because this apartment stuff has sent him over the edge. Okay. And this is something that I have to tread carefully with. And I probably there's other people that are dealing with the same thing. And asking for help, and whether or not I'm going to be judged if I'm using the help correctly, even though I shouldn't give a damn about it, is always a backside factor. It's because
it's true.
I'm not happy. I'm really not happy right now. And it's very hard to wake up every day and try to find a little bit of happiness to drive. Only you can make your happiness. Yeah, that's true. But as much as things weigh you down, eventually you either need to step back, let it break, or wait till some rays of sun come through. It's all depending on how your mood is, your day is, and your mentality. It's never the same day. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, you're right. Well, it's the storm is still so strong that you're standing in. It's still impossible to kind of even know or see beyond that scope. And right now, the concerns and the emergency state is still everything right now.
And that's just it. That's just looking at the condo, right? 51 other suites were affected. Okay, cool. That's not even looking at what's going on in Canada. And
no, this is still very a microcosm of Steven's world.
It's a microcosm of everything going on here. And I'm like,
Canada, U.S., what you love doing, which is gaming and pop culture, and everything is on fire, everything is disintegrated.
And I have no marshmallows. I have literally no marshmallows.
They won't even deliver them to my house. What is going on?
No, that's the weird shit stuff. I can't even get Smokey the Bear to go, oh, you can prevent forest fires. No. You're going to start one right there, because I would like some marshmallows. But it's I hate how I sound sometimes, because I'm trying to sound intellectual without sounding like an emotional baby, but that's not it. It's just, it is exhausting. Let's put it out there. This is for anyone who's dealing with stuff like this, whether it be what I'm going through, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be a loss, it doesn't matter. It is exhausting, because the amount of other people affected that you have to look out for, even though you don't want them to look out for you, to look out for them. it's exhausting because you're always on the defensive of what next. It's no longer what if or it maybe get better. It's always the defensive of what next, because that's the way this year's been. It's what's going to happen next. I feel like it's a really crappy Marvel film. What's next? Depression. What's next on that day? A little bit of alcohol. What's next? I tried to wipe my ass. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Let me ask this, because we'll transition away from some of that into like the pop culture stuff a little bit. So,
okay, I'm trying to be
funny. Never once have you and some folks that are close to us ever giving me grief, not even once, about still discussing Marvel or Disney or whatever, even though other folks are like, no, I don't want any part of them. I'll never cover them. I think it's bad to cover them. But no one has ever given me any grief. Do you have any problems watching some of it burn and whatever, and then you still see the stands and the cheerleaders and the reviewers, and how do you navigate, or is it just listen, I got my own freaking business to deal with, I ain't got time for all that? I mean, how do you navigate through some of that?
There's one thing I've learned in the 3 years I've been here. I'm sorry, I'm going to adjust my mic a little bit for this one. Is that Gary Busey's on my mic? It's the Aunt May one, the really creepy Gary Busey Aunt May figure. Google it while you can. You will understand.
Oh, I've seen it. You showed it before.
Yeah. One thing I can say with all of this is why not talk about it? If you want to make fun of it. It's your content to create. I don't agree with people ostracizing others because they're not matching the opinions or values of what a fan is. That's the SH asterisk T that should be nullified first. If this whole community was based off the fact of fighting against how Disney is treating sequels and how Marvel and DC and everything is falling into this woke activism and agenda, why are you trying to nullify the people that you used to be on panels with at the same time? Because their opinions are different. That's the stuff. It's the middle lines trying to sound unique while sounding the same without giving into, well, it's my way or the highway. I think that's the biggest thing I try to avoid, but I will mock it because it's none of us have the right to dictate who or what tier of a fan anyone is. You all love something or admire something or watch something, listen to something, read something, look at something because it attaches to you. That is one of the main concerns with all this battle of pop culture, is that why do they have to look like me for me to relate? The problem is we relate to things because it has an emotional, a mental, a physical, or some other type of memory relatable thing that we then appropriate ourselves towards. Because you can be a Superman in your own way. You can be a Batman in your own way. You can be a Captain Power, Captain Planet. You can be a Spider-Man. You can be a Miles Morales. See what I did there? You can be
sneaky.
Whatever you want in a relatable fashion. But as soon as it becomes like that physical only appearance, or as Critical Drinker said, new character, new strong. As soon as you put strong as the first thing about a character, it's not a character. There's more to it. And I think that's where the dissension of whether you want to call them woke fans, new fans, and the fans that have been there for quite a while, they're not understanding it. The woke side's not understanding. And I hate using that word. This has been around forever. That's cool. But so is this. Your forever is different from a 30-year-old person has a different idea of forever compared to a 60-year-old person has an idea of forever, because there's more forever there. There's more history. And then there's this clash, and it's draining. It goes into the exhaustion thing. Look at FNT. FNT has a blast mocking stuff and mocking comics and still showing where the weaknesses are. And then you have someone like Young Ripper come out with ISOM, and he gets constantly barraged nonstop. But it went from someone in a community who backed up his own projects, and people saw something in him to relate to of a character, giving them something of quality, and it grew, and he got slandered for it. So if a fan can make something that another fan wants to see, why are we battling each other on the tier of a fan? I don't know. I think I lost translation on that one, but
I don't understand the to each their own. Like, I just to each their own. Like I don't understand. Live and let
It's like
live.
politics.
Why the hell? Why the hell do we
have
have to control every single minutia of every single fandom and every single
Power.
rule and every single creator and everything? Screw you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And
it's power.
I don't get it. It's really hard for me to understand. I will say this though. I do what I want to do.
Same.
And I guess if people are mad about it or whatever, then tell me about it. But I'm not gonna change. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. That's the whole point of me doing it. I can go back and work for a radio station or write for a paper or do whatever I want to do if I want to do that. But I don't need that crap again. So,
but that's just it. Like, what kind of power gratification do you get off from telling people, well, you're not reaching this tier of fan because you like this, but you won't deny all of it because of this? I'm like, that doesn't work like that.
Oh, Pops, you're helping Disney because you said this was good, or you said this wasn't bad enough, or you said whatever, and I'm like, I don't really care. I have to say what I think. We can disagree. It's okay. You can do what you want to do, and I do what I want to do. Okay, let's talk about what we actually agree. Can we debate Superman versus Batman again? Can we debate? Yeah. Can we have fanboy debates again and not talk about content debates?
But that's the other weird thing about that is the whole thing. How is you talking about a Disney property giving them money?
I don't know.
Is it at the bottom of your video? Does it say, "Hey, don't forget to buy Disney Plus right now? If you use this Pops code, you'll get $1 off." Nobody's doing that. That's hilarious.
And I don't pay them. I'm on a press pass from these people. It's like they want me to cover their crap for free, and I cover it, and then I'm in trouble for covering it. And I'm like, I'm not saying positive things most of the time. Like, have you read and seen some of the stuff I've done? It's like, you guys, it's so weird that the people that act this way are actually acting like the snobbiest of snob critics that I was in the room with. Like, these were the newspaper people. Like, when you go to a screening, we'd go to these things, and there was this newspaper guy. And I always thought to myself, dude, no one freaking cares what you have to say, or we wouldn't be here. If you were still relevant, and it's like, now it's like, how dare you? It's like, you're the newspaper guy to me. I don't care about you.
But there still is that generation that does care. There's always someone that cares what you say, right? But that's the thing, though. You can't base everything off a couple of YouTube videos or a Rotten Tomatoes review. You eventually, the best way to defeat anyone who's saying, well, did you see it, is actually see it. If you don't want to see it, hey, your criticism is going to be nullified by the amount of knowledge you actually know what's going on. I watched Strange World. I don't know why, but it was there. I haven't got it
yet. I'll have to get you to hook me up with that, because I actually looked to get it on a sailing site that I use, and I wasn't there yet. But when it was, I will see it for myself and discuss it, because I have actually, the further agenda it is, the more interested in it. Because I did The Independent, I did Not Okay, I did Honor Society. I did these far politicized little things to discuss. I have no problem. That's definitely down my wheelhouse. So when I heard what this was actually about, I was like, oh, I'm not paying to see it, but I will be more than happy to tear into that a little bit and give you what actually is going on.
But that's just it, though. It also depends on your personality of how you're coming at content. If you're doing it for satire reasons, hey, I'll do it. But like, I don't think we're making them money. If anything, the people watching our videos are giving ad revenue to YouTube, and then we're getting some of that. So technically, if we're talking about Disney or Marvel and you're watching the video, then complaining that we're making them money or whatever attention, you just paid the creator to say that because you actually had to watch the ads, unless you have a blocker. But it's funny because but my thing is, I don't cover Marvel unless I want to. If I don't want to cover DC, I won't. You can see my change of content. I just don't care. I have no problem making a short where it's Tony Stark snapping the finger, and then it goes to Tony Stark snapped his finger for this, and then it shows the MCU. That for me is funny. You want to know why I did that? To enrage people for fun. And I got 3 or 4 comments. It was the first comments going, well, you just don't like women. You don't want to see women in spandex? Okay, that's the problem with Disney and spandex. They don't show anything. You're literally giving me an argument where it's like, yes, I love looking at more Brie Larsons. Give me more flat boards. Yes, I would love to not go to a Home Depot. I would like to see it on screen.
Yeah, I have a good time, folks. If you have not checked out Fat Steven's content, there will be links in the description. All that stuff will be there. We'll pull together the best I can to make sure you can connect to him as well. A lot of gaming stuff. He is not the PG-13 content, so if that's why you've been adequately warned. Pop supports him, but there's a lot of times where he knows, oh yeah, this would not be a Pop stream, but it's okay. We
How many heads did they cut off this morning? I don't know if we can watch this anymore.
it's fine. But it's, you know what? Again, this is my to each their own thing. I'm not a gamer, but he is my daily dose of like, what is some of the stuff that's actually going on? I love the art of games and storytelling and graphics and sound and stuff like that. So yeah, but well, my brother, I first off want to thank you personally too for the transparency and the honesty, the brutalness of what you're going through to share with other folks. And if it could help one person, it was worth it. And you know what, folks, whatever you're going through, you're obviously not alone. Steven's not alone. He's still feeling the bear of being alone because, you know, he literally is trapped in his house in a situation. And we have to do our part to make him not feel alone and let him know that we are here to help him in ways we can and cheer for him to get through it and those kinds of things. And I can't thank him enough for his time doing this. So
thank you for having me on here.